Good afternoon, dear sisters. This is Erica Gray of Becoming Luminous Women. I want to welcome you here on this beautiful spring day. We are so honored and excited to hold this circle with you today, as today I have a very special interview to share with you. Today my guest is Charlotte Gush. And she is a beautiful shamanic practitioner over in the UK that I have had the pleasure to be in contact with. And I just really wanted her to share her medicine, her power, and the newness that is coming through her medicine now. Welcome, Charlotte.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it's good. It's afternoon there. It's a little bit
Yeah.
afternoon. Wonderful. And before we started, you said that it's Beltane, and I just thank
It
you.
is.
Yes, I thank you for that reminder, and that the rain is coming down where you are, which I love and appreciate. And so let's ground in that beauty. So let's go ahead and take our breaths here, tapping into your prana. Maybe this is the first time of the day that you have had a chance to do this, or you have done it all day long. Either way, let it be fresh, a new start, a new beginning. Go ahead and take this time for yourself. This is your time. This is your time. This is a part of your self-care. Breathing deeply and completely now in through your nose, and just allow that to bathe your insides. Allowing the gravity of your luminous energy field to come down. Bringing your minds to that nice, sweet, calm, centered place right at the center of your being. Allowing us to come into complete contact, resting on the Pachamama. Allowing our systems to remember what it feels like to be held and cradled and nurtured by the mother. Each and every time that we do this, we create the reconnection that our bodies know so well, the reconnection to the Mother Earth. And know, dear sisters, every time that you do this, you heal the mother-daughter split. You heal the place inside of you where the divine feminine lives. You connect to her deeply. Allow that medicine to wash over you now. And choose now to be in circle with us. Closing your eyes, connecting deeply to the earth. And in your mind's eye, see yourself in tribe. See yourself in circle around the fire. Multiple interconnecting circles and fires, where we all weave this beautiful healing, this forward motion, this spiral of holding and balancing the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Allowing the sun to shine upon you. Allow the rains to wash through you. Find yourself welcomed in this circle as you welcome all of your sisters as well. And that leads us to speak with this divine sister, this becoming luminous sister that we have here today, Charlotte. Oh, I want to ask you so many questions, Charlotte.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
okay. So now we all know that the shamanic journey is your whole life and many, 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 many lives. Um,
Oh, yes.
we could be here forever if I asked you, how did you step into this path? Because you've never been off of the path, right? So for you, so that we don't, go too deep into it, but we get to the heart of this. Was there a time in your life that your journey kind of plucked you out of scarcity, out of confusion, out of darkness, out of a place of just not knowing who you are and what your path is about, where spirit just kind of plucked you out and plopped you into the next manifestation of who it is that you are becoming. Was there a particular time in your life, a particular story where you can say,
Yes.
I was under the bridge, tell us all about it.
Okay. Lots of people ask me, when did I start doing this? And like you say, always. And there is a specific conscious time that I remember where I thought, aha, this is what this is. I'm sure lots of people have heard of Glastonbury Festival or Glastonbury the town. I don't live too far away. Over 10 years ago, I chose to go there one cold February with a friend to buy books, fantastic bookshops. So that's what we went for. I happened to go and be dressed inappropriately for the time of year. And I spotted this lady go by in a very long wool coat. And I thought, she's smart. I'm not. I followed her into this shop, and on the doorway it said there are readings happening here today, card readings, psychic readings. And I just thought to myself, that's her. It's her who's doing those readings. Well, it's bloody cold outside, so sod it, I'm going to go and have a reading. And I sat down and she said, from today your life is going to change. And quite honestly, Erica, I thought, I've wasted another 20 quid. Because readers often, from today your life is going to change. But she wasn't wrong. She told me a whole bunch of stuff which hasn't really shown up. But the final thing was, she said, go and listen to this guy speak in alternatives in Piccadilly in London. And I thought, oh, no, I'm not. I was traveling for work. I used to go to London a great deal at that point. And I just thought, I don't want to fire around under the ground in a metal canister with sweaty people any more than I have to. So I decided not to go to the talk. But freelancing as I was then, the command from London came, can you come to a meeting, please? And it happened to be the day before this person was speaking at Alternatives. So I looked at this guy and went, really? Really? I'll go then. So I did. I went for my meeting, and then I went to Alternatives, and the person that I listened to speak was Alberto Villoldo, who I've since done apprenticeship with his school, the Four Winds Society, based in the States. But the interesting thing about the day was, in the morning, it was simply a talk, and he was talking about all of these things, and I kept going, shit, that's me. And by the lunchtime, I was getting quite sort of blown away by this. It was almost as though, and I've said it before, it was almost as though somebody had written a book about me thousands of years ago and just forgotten to mention it. My skill set has always been very eclectic and qualifies me for not very much at all. But apparently it's medicine woman. So, that wasn't on the list of things you could pick at school.
Yeah.
So this became apparent. And in the afternoon, on the day with Alberto, I went on my first journey to the lower world and first journey to the upper world. And to this day, I do not remember the experience. Just the profound sense of sadness. I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. And over the years and looking back on it, I was very sad, but that wasn't it. It was the shift in me that said, this is you. This is home. Do this. I don't know if anybody else knows about the Four Winds, but let's just say as far as world training goes, it's exceptionally expensive.
Sure.
And I thought, shit, where am I going to get this money from? But I just signed up, and, you know, over a period of a few years, every time I booked on a course, that the funds came in. And I went and I learned, and, you know, I stopped officially training years ago now, but it's never stopped.
Nope. Never will.
No,
Yep.
It continues. I do feel, and it's on my website actually, I call it spiritually press ganged, because I was rather busy, and I got pulled on board this boat, and as uncomfortable and painful as it was at times, I had no compulsion to leave.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe a bit long, but yeah, that's how shamanism grabbed me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love the, you know, that it's not that you remember your first journey. It's that your system remembered it. And
indeed,
you know, the impression that I got right before you even mentioned it was this pull into this depth of sadness, this place of home that I long for and I love. And just like you said, you know, I've never left it, because that is the place where, at least in my mind, you know, the way that you explain it, that is the place where Spirit really plucked you up and said, okay, come here, you're ready. Are you ready to remember who you are?
Yes,
so
indeed.
Beautiful. So beautiful. So just, I want to give everyone your website just in the beginning of our conversation so that they can look you up. Because when I am listening to podcasts, I get irritated if I don't know the person's website in the beginning. So let me just give everyone that. So Charlotte's website is www.shamanicway.co.uk. So let me spell that for you. SHAMANICWAY, shamanicway.co.uk. Very good. Okay, so this will give everybody a little bit more information on about you and how to find you. So since your initial training, and I'm sure your life, you know, was the perfect foundation to be able to have all of the obstacles and challenges and opportunities to be able to work through the things that needed to be worked through so that your medicine could be grounded with integrity and then begin to expand. So at this point in your medicine, tell us about, you know, what you feel as a medicine woman, where your major passion and gifts and presence lies within working with clients. Let's just start off with one-on-one, and then we'll go to your big kind of global mission. How's that feel?
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Good.
Okay, so what do I sense and what do I feel? The pattern that I've noticed over the years is things come up in my personal journey as I wander through life with my family, partner, friends, you know, wider community. And I'm asked to look at different aspects of myself from different perspectives, and maybe even aspects of myself that I've not looked at before. And they seem to be perfectly timed, you know, divine design and all of that way of thinking. So whatever it is I'm working with, whatever it is I'm processing, whatever the themes are for me, perhaps in a current cycle of the moon, for example, I reach my clarity and I usually write about it. Not the process itself, but the insights that I've gained. And then you can put money on it. The next 2 moon cycles, the clients turn up and they're facing exactly the same thing as I've been asked to look at in the first of the 3 months, if you like. Do you want what I've been looking at personally most recently?
Yeah, if you're open to sharing that, sure.
Okay, so my most recent theme, and I've got to be honest, this is still pretty raw. This is still pretty current for me. But sitting in a circle of sisters and fire, this feels okay, you know. Vulnerability is a part of every step. So the theme I'm working with is betrayal. Everybody on some level, whether it be an intimate relationship or in family or wider family community, everybody I feel has on some level experienced betrayal. For me, this manifested as heartbreak. I can honestly say the physical pain in my chest was completely debilitating. And I kept thinking, why is this happening? Why is this happening? I've been on this path consciously for 12 years. I've been walking it since birth this time for 42 years. How the hell have I missed this? You know, how the hell have I missed this? How can I not shift this debilitating physical pain and the fear that was coming with it? So I journey. That's my go-to tool, if you like, my go-to shamanic tool. And as opposed to going to the upper worlds that people may understand or the lower worlds that people may understand, I go to my inner world. So it's what exists inside my own energy field, the stories that exist there. And honestly, Erica, I did so out of desperation because I felt I could not feel this anymore. It was I was on my knees and saying, please, please, I will do whatever this takes to stop feeling this pain or move it or understand it or whatever it is. And I had 2 options, I felt, as a human. Was it this or was it that? And I was so connected to both that I was just pulled in each direction. And then the insight came from wherever the insight comes. And they said, it's purposeful that your heart has been broken wide open. And I say, trust me, it is not feeling purposeful right now. It is feeling, you know, I was less than respectful, quite honestly.
Sure.
Because you know that was not how I was experiencing it. And they said, you know, all you need to do is choose you. And everything opened and everything lightened, and the 2 sides which felt split apart, although were still a distance, the space that filled the center was clarity. And it wasn't about, in a mental state, I understood, but I felt that by following the guidance, by accepting and surrendering, that all would reveal itself. I went back in after a couple of days, having set up an altar with the beautiful post-it of I choose me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, real technical stuff.
Oh, I'm a post-it girl on my altars. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I say, oh, come on, okay, I choose me. I'm wobbly with it, but I trust you. I trust you. I trust my practice. I choose me. I said, what is the purpose? You know, why the pain? Why to break your heart so wide open that you feel that it can't be reconstructed again? And I got this picture, and I don't know what it's called, but I'm aware of a practice that they do in Japan, that when something valuable is broken,
They do it with gold.
yes, they mend it with gold. And they keep showing me this pale green, beautiful Japanese bowl, which is filled with 100 or 1,000 cracks, and each of them are shining and beautiful and unique. And you know, the bowl is not the shape that it began, but it's magnificent in its own right. And I sat with this, and I can feel the emotion coming now. You know, I can feel the tears still there. And I go, okay, so I accept my broken, slightly gold Japanese bowl. Thank you very much. just tell me, you know, why this? And they said, you just need to open your channel fully. Because I do have a belief that once your heart is completely smashed apart, there's no putting it back to how it was. That's futile. That's looking to the past to recreate your present and your future. And you know, that's habit, that's fear, that's the old, it's programming. And I thought, okay, wow. So 10 years of work of trying to keep my channel open and keep it clear, clearly, or wide enough, clearly hasn't been enough then. So thanks, guys.
Well, you know? I mean, that just speaks to the unconscious that we, you know, the collective unconscious that you are taking on. You know, not just this lifetime's worth of work, but you know, just being, it's increasing our capacity, you know.
Yes, and increasing in capacity. You know, I look back over the last 10 or 12 years, and I think, wow. You know, how did this happen? How did this happen? And I look forward to the next another 42 years with slight trepidation, thinking, shit, if this is 42, you know, who am I going to be? Who am I going to become? What am I going to get to do? And, you know, it is about becoming the channel. It is about becoming the hollow bone. It is about holding that space, firstly, for yourself in acceptance, surrender, and understanding. And then as a mentor for those who want to come walk by your side for a little bit. You know, our job is to connect to the earth and to channel the stars.
I love that. I love
and the universe is a big place, so I'm guessing we got to have some big arse open channel.
Absolutely. Yes, we sure do. And hence why the gold is just going to put you back together, and it's just going to be even wider. And you know, I just love that you're, you know, that you're sharing such the depth, you know, in which we walk as medicine women, and how we it is not a story that is outside of us. It is not, you know, something that someone does to us. It is us walking in the wholeness of who we are, and choosing that, and choosing acknowledgement and commitment, and allowing the universe to do things for us, so that we can become the mentor, the medicine, really. That we truly can be in these great times. These are absolute rock star times, and I couldn't be more excited to be on the planet at this time and doing this work, and to speaking, you know, with practitioners like you who are, you know, who endure the physical heartbreak, and then which pushes you to your go-tos,
Yeah.
And then, you create the altar and you listen, and then, you go through that cycle of what is known as the heroine's journey.
Yeah.
At certain points we have to be absolutely stripped away to nothing, and then we have
Yeah.
to be able to rise and remember. And this is us being able to put ourselves not back together again. It's not Humpty
No.
Dumpty. It is shedding.
Recreation.
It is shedding what no longer serves us, and becoming that new lightness that can serve us and serve others. And I want to thank you for your vulnerability and just, peeling back the veil there for us to see real life happening in real time, and what it is like to truly walk this deep medicine path. Thank you so much for that. And so, in your practice now, when you offer one-on-one work, do you do a certain kind of session? What does that work look like for clients? Do you work with men and women? Do you do small group coaching? Are you working on particular clients with particular outcomes? What's that look like for you right now?
Okay, so it shifts over time.
Sure.
Currently, I need to go back slightly. Last year, I went to Peru. I sat in ceremony in the Amazon and drank the plant medicine. I went further south. I went to Cusco, Sacred Valley, the surrounding, ended up at Machu Picchu. Yeah. It was a 3.5 week journey, but it felt like I was there 6 years.
Sure.
So much happened. On returning to the UK, they say the plant medicine, they say ayahuasca is a healing plant. My suggestion is they lie, and that it is in fact a revealing plant. Yes. Because what happened after coming home was pulling back layers that even after a decade of practice I'd not looked at, I'd not seen. Anyway, I'll compact that a little, because as with the betrayal, there's been repeated loops, there's been repeated themes. The outcome really of how this is benefiting my clients and myself currently and in the future is I've had quite a lot of spirit visitors who have shown me at night time, actually, because whoever we are and whatever part of the world we live, women are damn busy, these days. So, spirit turned up and they showed me a way to enter my energy system that I hadn't been shown previously. They showed me a route to what we would class as the seed event. So we're not looking for a past life story. We're not looking for a relationship in this time. We want the nub, where this thread began.
Right.
And I was skeptical to start with, thinking, right, how do we know? Well, I'll explain that in a little while. They showed me how to go in, how to engage with parts of ourself that we have separated from, or that have separated from us during moments of trauma. But at the first point that this story began, it's been very interesting in that myself and others who have gone through this process, the speed of it, the immediacy of it, there's not the need to do 6 years of contemplating your navel, as my father would say. It can happen there and then and now and now and now. And one example, a lady found what she classed to be her inner child, 3-4 years old. A story had been set up. And as they talked, as they conversed, as they honoured each other, as they hugged and asked for forgiveness, She grew. This child grew in front of her eyes into 17, 18, 19. We bring that energy back out. We work with it then in this middle world, this conscious world. We take it to altar, for example. And in a matter of weeks, her role, if you like, was to bring this version up to speed with who she was. So for me, that's bringing forgotten, unloved, ancient or disregarded aspects of ourselves to the present, to where they need to be. The analogy or the prop I use actually is the babushka. Do you know the Russian doll where one fits inside the other?
Right.
And I say to my clients, it's our job to take this woman to bits. And we need to find the one who's tarnished or hiding her face or burned or missing. And we find this layer, we find this aspect, because our job, if you like, is to find all aspects of self, invite them to a party of which we are the host, give everybody their time on the stage, if you like. I mean, if you think about that, in actuality, in your life, there are people that you would not put in a room together forever. You know, we have sections of our lives perhaps, and those certain sections perhaps do not mix. When it's dealing with our psyche, we don't have a choice. So my idea is invite everyone to the party, be a good host, get everybody talking, give everybody their space, and get that party working.
Right.
So that's how I describe it to my clients. After going in, we use sacred geometry, we go to the upper worlds, and we work with what I call the real-time stuff. You know, if they're presenting, my husband's done this, my daughter's missing, blah, 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 blah. And I don't mean blah in a rude way.
No,
I just, you know, the stories are endless. Mm-hmm. And so at a soul level, we go to source and we give back what we are holding of the other. And it turns out that at a soul level, the other has no right to refuse. So this works very nicely. We no longer have to carry those energies from the other that we have been. And, you know, if there's a resistance, we simply place it at the other's feet.
Right.
Then we get back what's ours, whether we've given it away consciously or unconsciously. And the term I use is, this is not a request. This is yours. This is your birthright, and you will have it. And they have it. It comes back every single time. And we bring them back again to the middle world. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It is very, very difficult to put into words the transformation that has happened. Some of these people look 20 years younger, and they've been doing it for 35 minutes.
Right.
The feedback that I've received is beautiful, is humbling. It quite often brings me to sobs. There's one lady, I remember at a very small workshop, and she messaged me. She said, you know, the healing was instantaneous. I went home, my marriage was different. I went to work, my job is different. My dreams are coming together so fast, it's almost overwhelming, and I don't know what to do. You know, and it's very interesting how they then project that I healed their lives, which really isn't the case.
Right.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm really appreciative, all of this stuff. What you do is amazing. And I say, no, what I do is hold the channel.
Right.
The work that happens is you.
That's right.
You know, you're the amazing one. I'm simply a posh drain pipe. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I often say is that, you know, my story is an example that it can be done. And their story is the way, is the map, is, you know, is their work that they do. And,
yeah,
you know, it's just us being clear enough to remember these ways, as well as to listen to spirit for the new information, well, new to us, right?
Yeah.
The new information that comes to us, so that we can take the traditional things that we've learned from the four winds or whatever other practices, we have brought in, and be able to use them for, the speed of light time that we are in right now.
Indeed.
So that 35 minutes that they're in session, they come out, they absolutely are, 20 years younger, because they just let down, they gave back a shitload of karma that was not theirs, or they, laid that at the feet of either their highest self or someone else's, and then they receive back all of their power. This is soul retrieval on steroids. This is beautiful.
Power retrieval, I'm calling it.
Power retrieval. I love this. And so, go ahead.
So far, we're not working on anybody specific with specific issues. We open up a small group, usually in people's homes. Myself and 5 others. That, like, as I say, there's no advertised theme. People aren't coming for depression or stress or anything in particular. But what we do find is when we spend a bit of the morning talking, is the theme develops, and everybody in the room has the same theme. Yeah. So it's very organic, and it's beautiful. It's men and women. I do work on Skype sometimes. I do work in person. I'll travel. I'll pretty much go anywhere. If there's the people, I say this, I've just come back from Europe. I'm going to Luxembourg in a couple of weeks. We've just been in Amsterdam. Obviously, we're doing stuff in the UK. I keep getting prompts from the States, actually, from a variety of different sources. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll come over there for a road trip or something and catch some workshops on the way.
This would be wonderful. So you do work via Skype, because
I do.
Okay, so because that opening that channel to be able to work remotely, I think would be really helpful to the audience that I know is listening. So
sure.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and this work is exactly what it is that I feel like so many people need to just
Indeed
step into those different those dimensions and realize that there is expansiveness there, and there are options there, where when we live that low contextual life, and our minds are wrapped in that low contextual understanding of what life is, then we could just get stuck in all of this mire and muck and karma.
Yeah.
And when we step into those higher dimensions, that not just the upper world, not just the lower world, not just the middle world, but the multiple dimensions in which they can really exist, they get an opportunity to find freedom, to find that wiggle room, to go back to what you said, the nub, which I love that, and shake that stuff off and just allow themselves to grow up that inner child, or lay down that baggage that they've been carrying around, forever, and that old story that a lot of us have been handed down. We didn't even say yes to it. We just were handed down as children. This is who you are, and this is how you operate in life. And that it can be something that absolutely overwhelms the mind and feels like a prison. And
do you mind if I interrupt? And going back to where we started with the theme of betrayal, it's as though taking on those stories, those traditions, the culture, the karma, we unconsciously betray ourselves. This is true. Because we've unconsciously said yes, and that's something that came quite strongly about opening the channel. In the first part that we spoke about with the heartbreak, is what I had to do was forgive myself for betraying myself. And in these sessions, truly, this is what happens: is forgiveness. And doing so in the place of infinity or infinite possibilities, that means from that nub, from that new place, we can create anything we want.
So beautiful and so necessary,
Yeah.
especially because we can get locked in that shame place
Oh,
where
yeah.
we're ashamed of being betrayed or ashamed of letting someone, do something to us. Why didn't I say no? Or why didn't I
Yeah.
fight back? Or, those sorts of things. And we can just absolutely waste years of our lives in that locked space. And so
Yes.
I really appreciate that you are bringing it back to that place of, choosing you and really letting that go. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. And it feels so, so freeing. So, would you be willing to tell us a little bit more about your your next freedom space that is coming up for you,
Yeah.
a place where your deep
Yeah.
passion is, and the potential of the big, wide open work that's coming through for you, and the people who are coming to support you on that?
Okay. Okay. So again, since Peru, um, I've sat a lot. I've asked myself a lot of questions. I've asked whoever's listening a lot of questions, if I'm quite honest. Um, Prior to working shamanically, or in the early days as well of working shamanically, I was a teacher. Well, I still am, but I was a post-16 teacher, and I worked with offenders in custody, so prisoners in jail. Things happened and I had to leave. I'd outgrown it significantly. But I learned a lot about people there. I learned a lot about human nature. I learned a lot about the capacity to do right and to do ill. Based on whose judgment, I don't know, but it was right in front of my face. What I noticed, though, firstly, was the artwork that were around these places. And I burst into tears one day. In the UK, we have something called the Costlow Award, which is in jail award for artists. And I just asked myself this question: if people in here can create something as beautiful as I was seeing on the wall, what the bloody hell are they doing in a place like this? Because if you've got that skill, that gift, that talent, what's happened that you've not been able to grow, develop, expand that? The other thing I noticed, whilst probably should have been teaching something else, but we used to come to, ethics and morality and spirituality. And what I noticed was, in actual fact, this wanting. Lots of these young men, because they were young men at that point, were really wanting to know themselves. I know in the States it's the same as in the UK, that we have a disproportionate amount of young black males in jail. What seems to come from that lineage is an understanding of roots. The stories are still shared in a way that the ancients would have shared, perhaps, but an understanding of the spiritual self. And I noticed it at first amongst the young black men, but the more I talked to different people, to varying degrees, I noticed it in all of these young men. And they were just searching for something, in the same way as you and I. And perhaps I was the first person in that circumstance or in that life to give, in that stage of life, to give them a forum to investigate that inner voice. The one that society says, no, don't listen to. The one that your friend says, oh, no, you don't want to do that. You want to focus on this. So much so, I did an action research project, and it was called Meditation as a Classroom Management Technique. Because as you can imagine, when you've got a bunch of 18 to 21-year-old young men in a room and you're trying to teach them anything, bouncy would be one word that you could use to describe them. And, there was lots of conflict. And I had to restart it 3 times because the word went round and these boys loved it. to be given the opportunity to sit in stillness with their own hearts, with somebody who wanted to hold them and understand, and they just blossomed. It was amazing. Anyway, we fast forward, there's lots of details. I had to leave that environment. It was killing me off. Since coming from Peru, I've really missed it. You know, I often joke and say there's no place I'm more at home than on a landing, which is, you know, where the boys live in their small rooms. How do I combine who I am with what I've learned? And only at the end of last year, in the beginning of this, the philosophy came. Spirit showed me a three-pronged approach, how to combine Jungian psychology using the archetypes of the mature masculine king and the mature feminine queen as goals, if you like, or as signposts for, you know, this is who you can become on the earth as a human being if you know yourself. And what I didn't realize when this came through was when we have the balance of the mature masculine king and the mature feminine queen, the overarching archetype is in fact the shaman.
I didn't realize
And
that.
No, and neither did I. So that was one aspect. The second aspect was taking people into nature, taking them out of city, taking them out of concrete, taking them out of those billions of influences that fly around in those confined spaces, and say, do you know what, boy, get your shoes off and feel what is going on. There is nothing like rain, wind and cold, which we get quite a lot of in England, to take down the external personas that people present and expose them pretty damn quickly as to who they are and what they've got going on inside. Now, that may sound slightly dangerous perhaps, but done skillfully, catch somebody in the teachable moment and they just crack, they just open. Combining that with the storytelling aspects, the shamanic tools and practices that I've learned, and the wider holistic tools and practices, to bring those three threads together, to write my own philosophy, to present my own program, to offer to basically these sections of society that no one wants to touch. Now, I do have a slight rub with all of this, in that I don't know how it is for you in the States, but in the UK, the mind, body, spirit community is full of lovely, beautiful, mostly women, wafting about, being lovely and positive and beautiful. And, you know, there's a place for that. There's a place for the light feminine. You know, in as much as there's a place for the dark feminine. But what I see is it's very middle class, and basically those who, in my opinion, need it most don't get access. It's not in their realm. It's not offered to them. It's not part of their language or their day-to-day operations. There's so much out there, not just shamanism, that can, does, and will help people who are in massive trauma, right, for whatever reason. I mean, in the UK now, they started to do yoga in prisons and acupressure and a few other things, but it's not very widespread and it's seen as woo-woo, you know?
Sure.
So really, I want to take my life experiences, my understanding of the archetypical structure of human beings, the power of nature, the holistic practices, and I want to take it to the coal face and get chipping away and get digging. Because what we're doing right now ain't working. Yeah. The war on drugs, the war on crime. Give me those billions, please, right, because right, I can maximize those for you.
For sure.
Really, I would like to take groups of young men initially, because that's my expertise, and help them to develop their whole selves. You know, this isn't a length of program. This isn't 6 weeks. They can come for the rest of their lives if they want. This is creating a tribe.
Right.
within which they have somebody to reflect back to them, this is what a strong woman looks like. This is what a whole woman looks like. When we've done it with a few people and other people that I've already worked with in a professional capacity, these are what mature kings and queens look like. And this is what is possible in your life. We want to provide a breeding ground for success, and how that is for the individual. We're all given a divine purpose, a divine set of skills and talents. And our job as the facilitators is to grow those young people into something magnificent on their terms, so that when they go out into the world and they start their families, because I do notice these young people breed, and things are, cycles are repeated.
Yeah, for sure.
That if they are the mature king themselves, they naturally attract a mature queen.
Right.
And when they come together in union to create that third force, to create that new life, that they are raising princes and princesses, this work will change communities on a grassroots level. I can't be everywhere. You can't be everywhere. Medicine women and men are in short supply in the world. And quite honestly, we've got 1,000,001 jobs to be doing.
This is true.
But if I can positively affect people in their present, in their future, in their families, and in generations to come, maybe it sounds egotistical, I don't know. But what I do know is if we manage to positively affect 10 families and they take that forward, and they operate from that place, we're changing lives where it matters.
You're changing society. You're changing legacy.
And the final point on this, what's been really interesting is since I've said yes to these pokes and prods and gifts from spirit, so much has come in. A local landowner, our local sir, whatever, has said, yeah, sure, come use my land. What do you need? I thought, I don't know how to set up a charity. I don't know how to set up this kind of thing. I got mentoring from a woman who used to do business startup for JP Morgan, the international bank. And I joked with my children saying, I'm not doing some backwater shitty thing. This is going to be massive. This can be global, I want some slick package that will attract the type of clientele that I'm looking for and give them what they need. I need a celebrity, boys. I need a celebrity to front this stuff for me. And lo and behold, 3 weeks ago, somebody messaged me. I'm not at liberty to say who that is right now, but wanted to come and understand some shamanic stuff. And I spoke to him about my project. And he said, this is awesome. Brilliant. He said, I want to help you. I want to front this. And finally, there are lots of programs where women teach women and men teach men. What I'm noticing and what the feedback I'm being given is no women are doing this.
Sure.
So I found my need. I found my niche, and it develops. Every time I turn a corner, there's another sign, there's another gift. Honestly, now, I've just got to squash it into human time and get the hell on with it.
Yeah, I understand that very, very well, because we can get a shitload of hits, but if we can't get it on our calendar and make it happen, it's like, overwhelmed. Yeah. Well, so, I would love to get an update on that once you get that ball rolling. Yeah, for sure. Watch this space, and that brings me back to the being the open channel. Absolutely. Everything will come to us. Everything does come to us in its right time. Absolutely. Onto fertile soil. And I feel blessed and humbled that apparently the universe has decided this is my time. But it's not just me. It's everyone. Absolutely. We're creating tribes upon tribes. Yeah. And I would venture to say that this is the advice that you would have for others to follow, their own personal wisdom at this time on the planet. Indeed. Yeah. Choose you. Choose you. Take notice.
take notice, do your healing, become the channel, choose yourself.
That's right. And come to the healers, the medicine men and women who are doing their own work so that they can support you and guide you into that place so that you can hone and align to that work. We need tribe. We need a healer in front of us to help us to work those things out. This is not on your own stuff.
No, it isn't. I actually offer something called sacred witness sessions. And it is simply that. It is simply holding the space, giving permission for people to talk about, in the way that I have today, their shame, their vulnerabilities, putting light on things and being honest to whoever it is who is listening to you in sacred space, shifts things beyond what we can comprehend.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
And it puts you in touch with your own personal medicine.
Yes.
And reminds you that you have all you need inside of you. And if you, offering that to someone as a sacred mirror, that, a lot of people don't just have that in their lives. It's now in my evolution, I'm very, very blessed to have built that into my life and can ask for that from sisters around me, and healers around me. But if you don't know the necessity of that medicine, then you don't necessarily ask for that. You don't have someone else that does it with you and for you, and you do it, in a reciprocal way for the other person. So you doing that and just offering that space for them to come to their own acknowledgement and wisdom within themselves and allow that channel to just open and be honest and lay it out on the floor, that's the beginning. That can be the beginning of a momentous healing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, and this will be the impetus for us to kind of close this time together.
Okay.
So for you, I ask every guest to offer our audience a bit of their own journey. Not that you haven't already, but in a very particular way where you share your most beloved self-care tip, your most loved advice, the tool that has made all the difference. I know that you said journey, maybe there's something else there for you, or even product that you have just, it's your go-to, it's in your tool bag, it always works, no matter what. Is it, or it can be for just right now in this season, in the shifts, or of all time? What comes up for you?
Okay, so there are three things. You touch back on the journeying. On the website, I have produced some journeying CDs. If people want to sit and, follow the instruction themselves, it's very simple to do. It's laid out beautifully, even if I do say so myself. It was a year's work. So that's what that's a product, if you will, that people can access. My own self-care tip too. I rest. And I practiced honesty. And what I mean by that rest is I literally sleep. They joke in my family about the Spanish aspect of myself, and the siesta that is required doesn't really work with British 9-to-5 work time, but I listen to my body. And if my body wants to rest, my body rests. Yeah. What I find is a lot of insight comes in that dream time. A lot of clarity comes in that dream time. When I wake, I feel refreshed, I feel ready, and I don't feel resentful of what it is that I feel I quote unquote should be doing. So I rest a lot, more at certain times of the year than others. Sure. with the seasons. The other thing I do when I spoke about honesty is what a friend of mine actually classes as fearlessly extended conversation. And that doesn't mean long ones. It means that within that sacred space, within conversation, we extend ourselves fearlessly. So we are transparent and to be seen and to be heard, with or without solution or resolution. There isn't an end goal. It's for the purpose of being naked, being seen by another human being. This just does not happen in life outside of this tribe of shamanism as I see it. There is not the facility, there is not the social structure, perhaps, for people to be 100% themselves and for that to be received with no judgment. Right. So when you talked about your support mechanism around you, I do have a few key people who I'm able to do that with for myself. And in turn, through my practice and through my work, I offer that open, raw, reflective space to others.
And that to me is another space where we are offering the strong queen.
Yeah.
She knows her boundaries. She rests when she needs to rest. She journeys when she needs to journey, to listen to the wise counsel that is within her and around her.
Yeah.
And to practice the honesty, that extending fearless conversation, to just have her physical wise counsel that she can do that with as well. But also being able to know with whom she can do this with. And
safely.
Safely, so that not that she needs protection. It's more about, will it be honored, and is she honoring herself in holding that type of open, honest communication? And I feel like the more that we develop this within ourselves, the more that we are personally honest with ourselves about what we need and about where we are in things in our life, then the sisters around us can begin to become that for us as well, because we begin to speak in a certain way, and we resonate at a high level, and you will figure out who it is around you has the ability, the capacity to hold that and bring that back to you.
Indeed. And what you touched on was, there's not the need to protect yourself, because the queen, the mature, positive queen, she also carries a sword.
She sure does. But
however, she carries it where it's seen. People know she carries it.
There you go.
That is the boundary.
Yeah. And there you go.
For me. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, understanding the archetypes is absolutely essential for walking in these worlds, to really know what it feels like to embody the healing, and to be a part of the healing of the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine, and what these archetypes really represent for us, and how our choices, our words, our whatever is coming through us and for us, and obstacles in front of us, are all a part of fostering this strength, fostering that sovereignty within ourselves. And as Linda Fitch would remind us, we do carry the sword and the shield, but we have no need to pull it, because we are luminous warriors. And so as long as we have it, and we hold ourselves in integrity, and we know, how to move in and out of the worlds, and always have our jaguar with us, and the rest of our beautiful archetypes who support us and serve us, We are good to go.
Indeed.
I love your self-care practices, and I really honor them, and I can feel the depth in which that they honor you. And I just want to thank you for sharing them and sharing your entire journey and your insights, your vulnerability, your great passion coming through, and your fearlessness to be able to embody the medicine that is coming through you as you, and
Yes.
to take the past experiences and allow them to merge and come together into this vessel that you hold now in this time and place, and allow them to come together into the potential of a very, very potent movement and tribe that can
Yes.
really, really make some serious shifts and changes in healing the sacred masculine and sacred feminine on our planet at this time. So I just want to honor that and thank you for, first of all, coming to it yourself, owning it, being able to articulate it, and then calling in the helpers to be able to manifest this. And like I said, I cannot wait to have an update on this and see how it's going and how it's expanding itself in the world. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you for offering me the space.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Is there anything else before we close space and allow our sisters to be done here? Is there anything else that you would like to share or offer before we do that?
Really is whatever has happened in life, whatever is happening or may happen, our responsibility is to dig deep into ourselves. This is a starting point over and over and over again.
That's right. That's right. I love that. Thank you so much. And just to remind our sisters, Charlotte's URL is shamanicway.co.uk, and you can email Charlotte at charlotte@shamanicway.co.uk, and you can give her a ring at +44 7769 800 897. Ready? I'll tell
That's
it
right.
to you one more time. So her email, charlotte@shamanicway.co.uk, and give her a ring, +44 7769 800 897.
Yes.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
And I thank you. And I thank you for your work on the planet. I thank you for the time that you take every day, every moment to be fully aligned with spirit so that you can also offer your gifts, because it is in the work that we all do individually and then come into tribe that we raise each other up. And so I deeply honor your work and your life and all that it took to get you to where you are right now. And so I thank you.
It's been a trip. It's been a journey.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, no doubt in my mind. No doubt at all. And as always, sisters, you can check out my website at becomingluMinousWomen.com. This podcast will be shared in multiple different places, but you can get a hold of Charlotte and myself through those channels, shamanicway.co.uk and becomingluMinousWomen.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sisters. Thank you for this time. Allow yourself to take a nice deep breath here one more time. Giving gratitude for all those who came, past, present, and future. Giving gratitude for the integrity of our tribe, of our circles, our multiple circles. For the beauty of the fire in front of us. For the sun shining down. For the Pachamama holding us well. For the stars twinkling for us and through us. Thank you for all of the archetypes. Thank you for all of the medicine men and women who continue to surround us and infuse us with wisdom and the remembering of truly who we are the whole woman, the whole man, our whole selves. I thank you. Aho!
Oh.